person not already advanced in spiritual understanding, the message of the Bhagavad Gita is revolutionary. Kill your brothers, kill your friends, kill your teacher, kill your grandfather. What kind of message is that? To make sense of it, we need to understand, we need to see that we're in a world that's upside down, where what we think we see is not what is, where what we think are love and truth are illusions, where what we think will make us happy only brings us grief. And beyond this world, we need to see the reality. We need to see that we're not these bodies, but spiritual beings, integral parts of Krishna, needlessly struggling with our minds and senses, struggling for peace and happiness, forgetful that real love, real truth, and real happiness forever exist in our eternal relationship with Krishna. And we can see this. It can all come to us when we read Bhagavad Gita as it is. That's why Srila Prabhupada gave us this book, and that's why we want to share it with the world.
Hare Krishna, devotees. This is Bhakti Chaitanya Swami here from Durban, South Africa. And I decided to make a little presentation in regards to Bhagavad Gita, seeing today is Gita Jayanti. There's an interesting point which a lot of devotees are not aware of about the structure of Bhagavad Gita. And that is the relationship between the very first verse and the very last verse. In my experience, not many devotees are aware of that, so I thought I'd just say a few words about it today. So here's the first verse. Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yutsavaha, Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva, Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. So, of course, this is Dhritarashtra speaking. Dhritarashtra is in anxiety about what's going to happen in this battle, which is just about to begin. His sons opposed to the Pandavas, and who knows what the result is going to be. So he wants to sort of bolster his confidence. So he begins by asking Sanjaya, his secretary, who was able to see what was going on. Dhritarashtra, of course, is blind. So he asked Sanjaya, "O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?" Srila Prabhupada discusses this, the question that Dhritarashtra's presented, and it's very rhetorical, you could say, in that everybody knows what's going to happen, what everyone is going to do. There's millions of warriors assembled facing each other. They're ready to fight. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to fight, of course. And Prabhupada explains that this is not really the point. The point is not really what are they actually going to do. The point is Dhritarashtra wants to know what does the result, what seems to be the likely result. So, because he was worried that Kurukshetra is very sacred place, as he says himself, place of pilgrimage. And he knows the Pandavas are very saintly people. And saintly people in a sacred place, oh, that's a wonderful combination. The place will help the Pandavas, whereas he knows his sons, headed by Duryodhana, they're really not saintly at all. They're pretty low, actually. They're pretty low and ungodly and very anti the Supreme Lord. Their whole mood is not nice at all. So their natures, it's like a big rasa-basa situation between their natures and the nature of the place, Kurukshetra, and the nature of the Pandavas. So he's worried that this is all going to work against his sons, which is true. So anyway, to try and perk himself up a bit, he asks this question of Sanjaya. And then, of course, the Bhagavad Gita unfolds and everything happens. The conversation unfolds between Krishna and Arjuna. But the concern, the question is not answered. It's the foundation of the whole book, but it's not addressed. So what happens? Is it just sort of thrown away and forgotten about? Well, no. Actually, Sanjaya does answer the question, but only in the very last verse. So like this, the first verse and the last verse, they're tied together and they hold together the whole Bhagavad Gita, everything in between. Let me just read the last verse. Yatra Yogeshvara Krishno, Yatra Parto Danurdara, Tatra Shriya Vijayo Bhutiya, Dhruva Nitya Matir Mama. So this is now Sanjaya. And he's specifically actually responding to the question of Dhritarashtra from verse number 1. This is the actual last verse of Bhagavad Gita. And just see how he answers the question. The question is, what did they do? But actually it means, what's the outcome going to be? What's the result going to be? So here Sanjaya explains to Dhritarashtra what he feels the result is going to be. And of course, Dhritarashtra knows Sanjaya is very tuned in. And if he feels that something is going to be the result, it's probably going to be the result. So this is what he says. Wherever there's Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there's Arjuna, the supreme archer, there'll also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. So it's a very, you could say, tasteful or even diplomatic answer to the question that, what is the likely result? Dhritarashtra asked. So Sanjay says, well, wherever you've got Krishna, wherever you've got Arjuna, the Supreme Lord, the great devotee, then what would you expect? You'd certainly expect, as he says, opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and of course morality. But to soften it, he says, that's my opinion. So like this, the first and last verses of Bhagavad Gita, they're holding the whole book together, and everything in between, from the second verse to the second to last verse in the whole Bhagavad Gita, they're all combining together and bringing us to this point of the last verse, what's going to be the conclusion. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.